No, this is right. Oh, you are the compiler.
Where there is perfectionism, there is always shame. There is always shame. Shame gives birth to perfectionism. Because perfectionism is not healthy striving. Perfectionism is not, it's not let me go out and do. Let me go out and strive to be my best. Perfectionism is a thought process that simply says, if I look perfect, live perfect, work perfect, and do it all perfectly, I can avoid or minimize shame, blame, judgment, and criticism.
That was me at accident. It was an effect, I told.
I call perfectionism the 20-ton shield. We carry it around hoping that it'll protect us when what it does, in fact, is stop us from being seen. I call perfectionism the 20-ton shield. We carry it around hoping that it'll protect us when what it does, in fact, is stop us from being seen. Addiction work, and I personally believe that perfectionism is a process addiction, and it's addictive for this reason, that for those of us, I'm a recovering perfectionist. For those of us who subscribe to this idea that if we live, love, look perfect, work perfect, we can avoid feeling shame and blame and criticism. If when we eventually do feel shame and blame and criticism, which are just part of the human experience, you're not going to avoid them. Our response is not, oh man, perfectionism is a crock. Our response is, I wasn't perfect enough, so let me be more perfect next time. And the thing about perfectionism that I think is dangerous is the amount of time we spend perfecting. I was so curious when I started doing all my research on organizations and leadership about, I guess I would have thought that leaders, very successful leaders, would be pretty perfectionistic. As it turns out, you have a set of leaders about here, about middle, who really struggle with perfectionism. But when you sit down across from transformative leaders, CEOs, COOs, leaders in organizations and corporations and communities, transformative leaders, what they told me across the board every single time is perfectionism is my greatest enemy. Perfectionism, and this is what I think is interesting, perfectionism is all about external validity. It's all about being validated externally. Healthy striving is all about internal drive. I am a strive for excellence kind of person, but not at the cost of getting stuff done. It's Voltaire that says the perfect is the enemy of the good. Very few perfectionists ever actually publish books. One of the things that I've had to learn in my life is this is not going to be a perfect talk. This is not going to be a perfect book. This is not, I'm going to look at it and wince in several places and say, why did I think that? Why did I say that? And that's a terrible verb I should have used to this one. Perfectionism is very addictive because it's very seductive. It's so great to think that there's a way that I can do things where I can never be held in judgment by other people, where I can totally escape criticism. But it doesn't work. You want to avoid shame, blame, judgment, and criticism? Do nothing, say nothing, go nowhere. Because it's part of this human experience. So to give up would be really hard. And in an effort to be perfect so we're never judged, it's a terrible waste of our time and of our energy, and it absolutely gets in the way of our gifts. And it's a great excuse. Like, I'm not going to step into my power, I'm not going to step into my gifts, because I can't do it perfectly. No one out there is doing it perfectly. Perfectionism is a process addiction. Perfectionism is very addictive because it's very seductive. Perfectionism is all about external validity. Perfectionism is a thought process that simply says, if I look perfect, live perfect, work perfect, and do it all perfectly, I can avoid or minimize shame, blame, judgment, and criticism. But it doesn't work. Where there is perfectionism, there is always shame.
Carey Clara, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to quickly recap, place-based Chautauquas had taken America by storm. So the need for talent made the Red Path and other Lyceum agencies busy in commercially successful hubs. Both Lyceums and Chautauquas worked with bureaus to schedule the talent for their gatherings. But with the communities often so distant from each other and each vying individually for the same talent, it became difficult to schedule artists and lectures in an efficient way. Keith Vaughter, let's hear it for Keith Vaughter here, who worked as an agent for the Red Path Lyceum Bureau, and his partner Roy J. Ellison, look at that guy there, had a brilliant idea. Why not make up a standard program for this summer Chautauquas?
I got this. A program of music, lectures, and performers would come to a local town, and we would take this program and entertain the local communities, and they would pay for the prepackaged entertainment.
That's so smart, so genius.
I know. And each Chautauqua would last for 6 days in a town. But each town would get a different set of performers.
It's so smart.
It's so gosh darn genius. I can't believe I did it. Each Chautauqua would begin on a different day of the week. Performers would only perform on a certain day. Day 1 would have a certain specific set of performers. Day 2 would have a different set of performers. And on it would go throughout the week.
What did I tell you? This guy is so smart.
I know. In 1904, I booked the Chautauqua show through the Red Path Lyceum circuit, and we would go, but we wouldn't edify music and lectures. We would bring in specific performers of the day that had a more edge to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Clay Mazing.
Hi, everybody. Hey! So, my name is Clay Mazing, as you may have already heard. And I'm going to start by telling you a little story that was told to me by my little sister about her imaginary friend. How many of you guys have an imaginary friend? Just a couple? Okay. Well, my little sister's imaginary friend, well, one day, according to her story, one day she was out stepping in the flowers and she accidentally stepped on a bee. And the bee stung her in the bottom of the foot. And so she went crying to her mommy, and her mommy came out and killed the bee, and there were bee bones everywhere. And when my sister told me this story, I thought, bee bones, hey, that's a pretty good band name, right? So we're always looking for band names, and I decided right then and there that I would start a band called Bee Bones that would be everywhere, and everybody in the entire world, including everybody here at the Libby Memorial Center tonight, would be in this band, and right now, we are going to do a song together as Bee Bones, the biggest band in the world! Okay. Pretty good energy. So, I'd like to introduce first to the stage someone who came to who did a ukulele workshop right before the show. Karina, come over here. She didn't want too much of a limelight. And she learned this song for our band. She's also going to be joined by a bunch of ukulele players. All right. Looking good. Looking good, guys. And so we've got these words here. Hopefully they're readable. And so there's a couple of sing-along parts. That's for the chorus. And the verse part is very easy. It goes like this. Are you guys ready? You all got the first chord ready. I see. Okay, good. All right, here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. Da la da 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 da. Everybody. La da 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 da. La da da da. La da da da. Da la da da da. Maybe you're blind and cannot see the sky burst into flames at sunset, but that don't mean that I am going to close my eyes just because one can't see it. Instead, I'm gonna soak it in until I choke. I'm gonna hear my ears deaf because we have been forewarned as soon as we are born that there is not much time left. Here we go. We're gonna burn the beauty of this world into our souls. So when we go, there's nothing left to do except explode. Shrapnel of love is raining down on everyone. So we say, some can have their heaven at the end. We'll take ours now. Doing great. 1, 2, 3, 4. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. Da. Let's sway back and forth. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. And if you wanna work as a basement clerk with only lunch time, sunshine, saving up your common sense for retirement before you reach your deadline. Do what you gotta do. Every day's a deja vu. In 40 years you will be free. Look me up when you are done. I'll be somewhere in the sun. We'll sail across the Dead Sea. Oh, we're gonna burn the beauty of this world into our souls. So when we go, there's nothing left to do except explode. Shrapnel of love is raining down on everyone. So we say, some can have their heaven at the end. We'll take ours now. Oh man, we're doing so good so far. Okay, is there a way, can we get house lights out for now? Is that possible? Yes? No? House lights?
Yeah.
Can that happen? No? That's all right. It doesn't matter. Well, all right. But this time, can we just stand up a little bit? Stand up. Oh, there we go. We look at each other and realize that this is the only moment that this is ever going to happen. And right now, we're going to sing this verse as if we are here right now, alive, together. Are you ready? Are you ready to sing this verse like we're alive right now? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. La da da da, la da da da, la da da da, da 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 da, la da da da, la da da da, la da da da, keep it going. Scat it out. We're gonna burn the beauty of this world into our souls. So when we go, there's nothing left to do except explode. Shrapnel of love is raining down on everyone. So we say, some can have their heaven at the end. Will take us now. Okay, big acapella finish. Here we go. La da da da. Yeah, P-Bones! You're a beautiful band.
I feel so alive.
He was like, oh, two different Susan person.
First circuit Chautauqua lost money.
Yes, I know. But I had a brilliant idea. I would take the facilities with me, i.e. a tent.
Tent! Brilliant!
I know. The railroads at the time were crisscrossing the country from north to south, east to west. And I realized I could take my talent from coast to coast and hit all the towns, and we would make a killing.
That's exactly what happened. Keith Felcher, you're a genuine genius.
I'm a genius.
He's a genius.
I know. We would have our agent go to a little town and pitch the idea for $3,000.
Keith, that's $70,000 in 2014 dollars. How are you going to get a small town like Libby, Montana to come up with that kind of money?
Headliners. Let's send a telegram. Williams Jennings Bryant, stop. Come on the Chautauqua circuit with your cross of gold speech. Stop. And we'll pay you in bags of this stuff. Stop. Keith Valter.
Keith Felcher, you're such a genius. You're like a father to me.
Roy Ellison, I am your father.
No, it's not true. That's not possible.
Kids these days. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chautauqua tent. Former Congressman, Secretary of State, and future presidential candidate, Williams Jennings Bryant.
I would like to say the speech, the ending to the speech that I delivered some 5,000 times on the Circuit Chautauqua. There are two ideas of government. There are those who believe that if you just legislate to make the well-to-do prosperous, that their prosperity will leak on those below. The democratic idea has been that if you make the masses prosperous, their prosperity will find its way up and through every class that rests upon it. I wrote those words in 1896. If they dare to come out of the gold in the open field and defend the gold standard as a good thing, We shall fight them to the utmost, having behind us all the producing masses of the nation and the world, having behind us the economic interests, having behind us the laboring interests, and all the toiling masses. We shall answer their demand for a gold standard by saying to them, you shall not force down upon the brow of labor this crown of thorns. You shall not crucify mankind on a cross of gold. Thank you, and go Libby.
When she returns, please check her mic and see if it's on,
really
off,
hard
or
to
muted.
believe, even now in 1944, as we build these ships, airplanes, automobiles, that women as late as 1920 still didn't have the right to vote. Hello, Libby, Montana! Yes, nice to meet your acquaintance. Oh my God. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Libby, Montana! It is August 18th, 1920, correct? Yes? Yes! Yes, thank you. Yes, this is Libby, Montana. I am Clara, the singing suffragette, and I've been on the Chautauqua stage for almost 20 years now, talking about women's rights and the fact that we still do not have the right to vote. Thank you. And I will keep talking until we have. Oh, we have. Thank you so much. Yes, we still do not have the right to vote. Are they kidding? Seriously. I don't even know what to do. I'd pinch myself if I wasn't still already in pain. What is holding this up? The 19th Amendment. That is what is holding this up. Passage of the 19th Amendment. Once the 19th Amendment is passed, I and you and you and you and that lovely woman who almost broke my arm will be able to vote. It'll be wonderful. Now, which state has not ratified the 19th Amendment? Does anyone know? The one state holding it up? Guesses?
New York?
Indiana, did you say? No. One more guess?
Wyoming.
Montana? No, it was not Montana, but thank you for playing. No, it was not California either. No, it was Tennessee. Tennessee. That's right. The good men of Tennessee are currently deciding if the women who bore them should have the right to vote. Now you tell me what's harder, giving birth to a child or pulling the lever on a ballot box? I'll tell you what is hard, and that's deciding between the two clowns that the all-male conventions have put up for nominations. Now, who are these clowns? They are, on the Republican side, Warren G. Harding, and on the Democratic side, James M. Cox. That would be Harding and Cox. Harding and Cox, the male-nominated candidates for the male voters. Yes, I do think that is at the very least, a bit risque, don't you? But no matter, what do these surname-challenged men know about running a country? That would be my question. I mean, if you ask me, if you give birth to 6 children and you run a family, then you are an experienced community organizer. Okay. You are also a human being. It's just like the conversation that my friend Margaret was having with her husband Henry the other day. She said we're more alike than different. To deny this fact is ludicrous. We both have hearts, we both have brains, and I also happen to have a uterus. She said, Henry, I'm a citizen of this nation just like you. Whatever laws apply to men, apply to women too. We're half the population and we have lots of work to do. Our cause is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Suffragettes are talking to ya. We will don our battle coats, 'cause we are fighting for the votes. Our cause is marching on. And he said, Margaret, you're hysterical. Don't you have all you need? Why is voting so important? Isn't it enough you read? You're so very emotional, dear. Is it the week you bleed? Our cause is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Suffragettes are talking to ya. We will stand our ground and fight because the vote is our right. Our cause is marching on. And Margaret said, Henry, we're both Americans, both humans, both born free. Henry put his boots on and said very carefully, my dear, are you still talking? Don't be silly. Make some tea. So she went marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Suffragettes are talking to ya. We will stand our ground and fight because the vote is our right. Our cause is marching on. Key change challenges will be surmounted. Our ballots will be counted. And if you think you're getting fed after those awful things you said, if you think that you'll be kissed after the way that I've been dissed, that you think the world will end when women vote, then think again. Think again. We're marching on. Don't be a boob. Support one or two. March on.
Oh my God, they did it!
They did it.
They did it! The 19th Amendment has been passed! Women have the right to vote!
Oh my gosh! Did you hear that? Women have the right to vote! Oh, I am so excited! Thank you so much! I am so excited! I've been doing this for 20 years and finally it's all come true! I'm so excited and I am so out of a job! All right, but you know I can get a job. I'm an educated woman. And when I do get a job, now that we're on an equal footing with men, I'll be paid the same wage as a man. It's a big job.
I'm Clint West from the evil repass to Chautauqua Bureau empire, I came to Portland, where I created my own Chautauqua booking agency, the Ellison Chautauqua Bureau.
The Ellison White Chautauqua Bureau, to be precise. My name is Clarence White, and I am a fully functional money man with no clue and lots of ego. How can I help me?
Why, the Ellison White Chautauqua Bureau actually brought the first Chautauqua right here to Libby, Montana, almost 100 years ago in 1960. Can you guys believe that? Wow.
Sir, I think the natives are getting restless.
Why, in 1924, the Chautauqua movement's biggest year, over 40 million Americans saw over 10,000 Chautauqua productions.
At $3,000 a Chautauqua times 5 months of touring every day, that would be $450,000, or if my calculations are correct, $10,500,000 in today's currency. That would bring a pretty nice lunch. I don't mind. I will be shutting down now.
Well then, by this time, Chautauqua had grown ever more secular and included in its programs hit Broadway plays, black Jubilee singers from the South, physical comedians from the North, and animal acts from down under. I'd like to introduce a man who combines the best of physical comedy, a cappella, and animal husbandry, but instead I must introduce a very serious artistic, theatrical interpretation of hide and seek. Please welcome Ty.